What is up, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Geekcast. I am Bobby, the Nintendo Guru, not joined by Toby, joined by Christopher White. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing well, Bobby. Thanks for having me. I'm looking. This is my first appearance on the Geekcast, so thanks for having me.
Yes. Hey, man, it's a pleasure to have you. Absolutely. And what the heck? I'm getting a text message from Sean Capri asking if I want to play Splatoon tonight. Sean, I would love to, but at the moment, it's not going to happen. So how you been, though? What you been up to?
Oh man, I've been good. You know, life has been busy. It's weird. We're 6 weeks away from E3, so for people like us that follow this kind of stuff, you know, we're starting to get announcements. You know, Call of Duty, just got announced. World War II, and just had Star Wars Celebration. So we got the announcement for Battlefront 2, and there's just a lot of stuff kind of on the horizon for gamers, and so it's an exciting time. A lot of stuff to just kind of be digesting, and of course Switch is going strong, and excited about that, and it's just a good time, man. It's a good time.
Absolutely. So why don't we kick this episode off like we do each and every episode with our Geek Outs? But you know what? Yeah. Before we do that, though, I didn't. You know what? I totally should have been like, for those that don't know Chris, he's all over the place on the internet. So, real quick, give everybody a brief rundown of like where they can, where you're at. Because Life of Gaming is where I met you from and all that. Sure. But like, there's other stuff you do too. So.
Yeah, I try to freelance right when I can, and you'll see me kind of pop up at different places. I do run geekfamilymedia.com, which is, I have 4 kids, so I try to do stuff from a parent's perspective and from raising the next generation of geeks. So we do a lot of stuff over there. But then, I podcast with the guys over at Life of Gaming, and we have a great time. But yeah, if you follow me on Twitter at NeoLego, anything that I do, I'm a big self promoter, so you'll find it there. But yeah, I try to be in as much stuff as I can. I just, I love kind of geek culture and pop culture, and of course video games specifically. So I try to be as involved as I can and stuff like that.
So now back to the Geek Outs. That's what we're doing now. What's got you hyped up at the moment? What are you excited about at the moment?
So, Bill Nye Saves the World. Are you a big Bill Nye fan?
Never watched the show in my life.
Oh man,
that's your era. But look at by that, I'm about probably 10 years older than you, maybe.
Sure.
Okay, so there's a little generation gap there.
Sure.
It's probably a little close. It's probably a little closer than 10, but whatever. Yeah, like stuff that you thought was cool, Bill Nye the Science Guy, Power Rangers, I thought was stupid kiddie stuff.
Oh man!
So it's like for me, it was like no. I'm gonna no. That's not me. So.
Oh man. So yeah. So I grew up with Bill Nye the Science Guy. Absolutely love Bill Nye, and he's been very much involved since the show. I mean, the show went off the air a long time ago, but he's still been very much involved in just science and preservation and just doing talks and stuff. But yeah, he has a Netflix series now called Bill Nye Saves the World. It just launched on Friday, so just this week, and I've only taken down a couple of episodes, but it's great, man. I mean. It's just look. I like nerdy, geeky stuff, and this is he does live science projects on the stage, and talks about global warming and dinosaurs and carbon dating and whatever. It's fun, but I love it. So anytime I'm not playing something, I'm probably watching Bill Nye. So.
Sad world you live in.
Dude, check it out. Bill Nye Saves the World is a great show, man. It's
no. Let's listen. I'm saving my people. Don't listen to Chris. Don't watch this show. Dude,
this is called the Geek Cast, man. You can't be a bona fide geek and not love Bill Nye. Come on.
Stop. Yes, you can. Trust me. You can. Believe me. Dude, there's a lot of stuff going on. I'm like all over the board with what I'm geeking out about, but like. Just, we'll go over a couple things. Like, obviously, as we record this episode's not going to air for a couple of weeks because I'm trying to get some stuff locked in for when holiday production begins for me for Mother's Day, and I'm not going to be able to record. So, I mean, we got Mario Kart coming in a week. That's got me hyped up, man. I just can't wait to get into that again and spend more time with that. we're just coming off of the Nintendo Direct with like all kinds of Amiibo announcement that are like coming out of my ears.
Yes.
I'm like, holy crap. And dude, it's right back to, we'll get into it in one of our topics, but we're right back into the thick of things with that. The announcement of the NES Classic Mini disappearing, and then a rumor of the Super Nintendo one coming up, like, that's got me excited. Like, there's just so much going on in the world of Nintendo right now. It is a good time to be a Nintendo fan. I mean, we basically sat there for a year and died a slow death. So it's good to kind of like be back in the glory and like really and not only that, like as a Nintendo fan, dude, Switch is like burying things right now. This thing is clicking on all cylinders. It's insane. Great.
Well, so NPD dropped numbers. I don't know if you saw the comparison. Me and James were talking about it. But it has, in the 7 weeks that the Switch is launched, it has outsold the PS4 in Japan every single week except for one.
Yeah. That's
crazy.
And that's the crazy. What's crazy is this is what's even worse. It's limited numbers. It's not like they're going full force. So imagine if they were able to like just sell what people wanted, But I will say this too, it does seem like, or at least feel like, they have their act together with this thing. It doesn't seem, and what I mean by that is this, in terms of like getting supply out there, because I'm hearing of people like my stepbrother just picked one up a couple days ago. He just called Best Buy. They're like, yeah, we have them in stock. He went down and picked one up. Like,
awesome.
I'm hearing that a lot, like where people are just like, hey, I just walked into a random store and they had it and I bought it, and that's awesome. That's what Nintendo needs. Like, you don't have to have 50 of them sitting on the shelf. I think that the steady flow that they're doing is perfect, and it's exactly what they want to do. So
I agree with that.
I'm excited. So, what are you playing at the moment, Chris?
I'm still playing Zelda. I don't know that I'll ever stop playing that game.
Have you beat it yet?
I love it. No, I haven't. So I'm three beasts in.
Okay.
I'm actually on my way to Death Mountain, and and so I spent a lot of time just hitting shrines and stuff, and once I got past the third beast, I was just like, let's just go ahead and call this thing a night. So so I'm kind of beelining now.
To pull it all together. That's kind of what I did too. Like when so my order of progression, I did the Ritu first, I did the Zora second, I did Gerudo third, and then I went to the Guron. But after I did the Gerudo, I was like, okay, it's time. Like, I need to start ramping this up. And I went, and then I was just like, all right, it's happening. I went right to the Guron, took it down, finished off my memories that I had to get, and then I was like, game on, let's go. And by that point, I feel like you start to get that swagger about you. Like, you're hitting the point where you're not afraid of Guardians anymore. You'll go after them. You'll see them in the field. You might even get to the point where you're hunting them. And before, it felt like before the third beast, I was still running from them. I was still scared. So that's right now is where you're starting to you're building it's that momentum rise where you're just building, and it's getting to that point where it's like, okay, I'm going. Now, curiosity, because I'm just curious where you are with all this. Like, I'm assuming you're doing the memories.
So I've done some, but I haven't went out of my way to find any of them yet. So I've come across some so I've unlocked the whole map. I did that before I took down the second beast. So I took down my first beast, and then I was like, I want to unlock the map. So I just went on like this tour of the whole entire map and hit every tower. And so just in traveling, I think I've come across 3 maybe. And then of course the ones that are associated with each of the beasts. So I'm still missing quite a few, and I probably will once I take down the last divine beast. I probably will spend some time trying to shore up the memories before I go face Ganon.
That's what I was gonna say. Is that your game plan, to beat the memories before you go?
Yeah. I'd like to. I've heard that that there may actually even be a slightly different ending if you have memories. Yeah. So I think So I think I want to. I think I do want to do that. So but a lot of that will depend because what I'm finding is a lot of them are very just like obtruse, just like really hard to find. So I don't know that I want to spend another 30 hours just walking around looking for memories. So I may have to either jump into a guide at some point if it gets too difficult, or maybe just take down again and then kind of find them leisurely. So we'll see. But yeah, my plan right now is to take down the last beast and then hit the memories and then hit Ganon. So.
Yeah, I did the beast before, the memories before, and I was just like, I got to do this. I knew that I had a feeling there was going to be two separate memories. Or two separate endings. It just kind of made sense that it would be. And last night, actually, I just recorded a spoiler cast episode, and that's how I found out that there was actually two endings to it. And it's not a huge variation, but it's enough that you're going to want to see the better, I think.
Okay. Yeah.
As a Zelda fan, I think that's the way to go.
Okay.
Myself, I've been playing a lot of Puyo Puyo Tetris, the demo that came out.
Oh, yeah? Oh, it's so good.
I love it, man. I love it. I love the demo.
So good.
I love the demo so much. Been playing some Metal Slug. I like that a lot. Reminds me a lot of Contra. A better looking Contra, if I might say.
Yeah, Metal Slug is great.
Yeah, it's a really good game. And Wonder Boy. I bought that. I like that game a lot.
It's really good.
Yeah, it's a Sega Master System game. But what I like about it is you can flip the screens back and forth.
Yep.
So you could play as like the old school 8-bit horrible looking game, or you can flip it to this really cool cartoony looking game.
Yes.
Which I love. I think it just looks phenomenal.
It's all hand drawn. Yeah. I mean, they went above and beyond with that thing. It looks fantastic.
It's almost like I'm just like, man, I would love more companies to do this. Exactly this. More companies do this. Like, it is so good. So good. I wouldn't even mind seeing Nintendo do it. Like, hand draw Mario and do Mario 1, 2, 3. Oh, throw it on and just give it to me, man.
A hand drawn Mario game would be really cool.
Awesome, man. It'd be awesome.
That would be cool. I will. So I'll throw out. I've been playing Mr. Shifty as well.
How is that?
So it's really good. A lot of the kind of the complaint online. I can confirm. I mean, there definitely is some frame rate issues when a lot of people get on screen, but it hasn't hindered me enjoying the game. It isn't like it chugs to a rate that I can't do anything. There is some noticeable, and I've probably maybe had some mistiming during a moment of like frantic pace, but it's really good. So I describe it to people when they ask me. It's basically like a whole game built around the opening of X2.
Okay.
Which Nightcrawler infiltrates the White House and just slowly, methodically goes through the halls and murders everybody, and then kidnaps the president. So it's kind of that, and it kind of has almost like a Portal-esque vibe in that you're going from room to room. So each room is a challenge, and so you're trying to infiltrate this base, and so you go through a room. Once that challenge is complete, you take an elevator up to the next floor, and you're just going up floor by floor by floor. But yeah, I mean, it's really cool. You have a little white dot. It's kind of like a reticule right in front of you, and it's from like a top-down perspective. It looks a lot like Hotline Miami. It's not so much psychedelic. It's not like it's on LSD, but it has like the same visual look as far as the way the character models look and stuff. And yeah, you're just running through this level, and sometimes there's just like one or two guys, and as you go further, you'll have more and more guys. And if you trip an alarm, a lot of guys come after you, and you're just teleporting around and smacking the crap out of them and trying to get out of the room. It plays really good. I mean, other than the frame rate dips at times when it's playing well, like it's completely flawless and it looks great and it's just a ton of fun. It has that one thing that's important in a game like this, which is when you die, you're instantly back into the game, and that's something you have. It's like the Super Meat Boy, thing. It's like the game kind of they expect you to die, and so that there's no loading or nothing. You just die and you're starting back at the beginning of the level. You're trying it again. So it's really cool. So it's a lot of fun. It's a nice I did pick up Lego City Undercover.
Mm-hmm.
And I found myself, as much as I love that game because I played it on the Wii U as well, but as much as I loved it, I found myself going from Zelda back into another open world just wasn't really kind of doing it for me.
Yeah.
So I've kind of backed off of that. But Mr. Shifty is great because I can play Zelda for a while and then I can jump over and maybe do a room or two of Mr. Shifty for 5, 10, 15 minutes and then be done.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a nice kind of palate cleanser to what Zelda's been. So
that's
it's been good.
And the thing that kills me, and I was going to buy Lego City, but because they didn't fix the load times, I walked.
Yeah.
I really thought, like, it's cartridge based. There's not going to be any load times. And there's load times. And I'm like, it's so disappointing because I know it's a little bit quicker than the Wii U, but that's ultimately why I stopped playing. Because it felt like when you got further in the game, the load times took even longer.
Yeah.
And it was like, wow, man, why is it taking so long? It was like a minute to a minute and a half to literally go from the outside to go into the police station. And it's like, this is insanity.
Yeah,
so,
it is. Yeah, no, I mean, I 100% agree. But on the flip side of that, like I played every Lego game since the original trilogy came out, the Star Wars trilogy, and they've always had bad load times. Like Force Awakens was one of my favorite games of last year, or was it 2015? It may have been 2015, but whatever year it came out, Force Awakens, Lego Force Awakens was one of my favorite games that year. Like it was so good, and it still had atrocious load times at the beginning of every one of the levels. So I just think, unfortunately, it's not an excuse. I think it is just the way that Telltale makes games. I whether it's cartridge, I'm just going back to you saying it's cartridge based. I just think it's the way that they develop. I just don't. Their team is very good at it, and as good as the games are, it's like there's a little bit of finesse that they're missing when it comes to things like that. And every single one of their games have always had like those. They're atrocious load times.
Yeah.
And it does, especially on the Switch. Yeah, to be honest, it is a little quicker on the Switch, but I feel like I actually notice it more because the Switch being a portable console.
Yeah.
Like if I take it out at work and I'm like, oh, let me just load up Lego City, and it takes me like 3 to 4 minutes to even start playing the game. Yeah. Whenever I can literally just push a button and I'm playing Zelda again, like it's definitely a disappointment. It kind of. In that circumstance.
See, I almost feel like that's the times that I wish Nintendo would just go to these companies and go, look, this is our bread and butter. Let us just help you with this. Because ultimately you want it to play the best on your console. Yeah. And if Xbox and PlayStation, if all three of them were coming out at the same time and everybody was like, hey, the best version is the Switch version because it like, why would you, it's nuts. But and especially since you published the game.
That's right. Yeah.
Like, it's your game. It's a Nintendo game, and it's like, wow. I mean, that's just nuts. But
yeah.
So the whole idea, again, Chris and I were talking via Twitter a couple days ago, and he offered himself up as a guinea pig to be a guest on one of my shows again, and we had a great time on If We Ran Nintendo. Like, I had a phenomenal time with you.
Yeah, it was great.
It was so much so that Sean was like, it was right at that time where Sean and I got into the fight, and then Sean missed the episode. Uh-huh. And then you came in to Phil, and Sean listened to the episode, and he was like, man, if there was ever any question that you could do this show without me, he goes, Chris is your guy. Like, Chris came in, and you two just hit it off and clicked and went going. And so I was like, I've always, in my mind, I always thought, like, I gotta find a way to do more with Chris where I can. So when Chris was like, hey, there's a couple things I want to talk about, and I was like, yeah, he sent me 3 topics, and I was like, I'm taking it. I'm actually going to put it on the Geekcast so we can talk about this stuff rather than how we would do this stuff. And so these topics are essentially all Chris. I don't want to take any credit away from you. First topic, Amiibo 2.0. And I know people are probably sitting there thinking, like, well, they never really stopped Amiibo. No, they didn't. But this wave that's coming feels very reminiscent to old school Amiibo. And for me personally, I'll talk about why I feel that. I feel like we're back to Amiibo getting that GameStop. So I follow Nintendo of America on my phone. So when they tweet, it immediately comes to my phone. Every tweet they do, I get it right to my phone. They literally tweeted about Cloud and Twilight Princess Link going up for pre-order at GameStop. Yeah. I clicked the Twilight Princess link, and it was sold out that quick.
Yeah.
It was like gone. And
yep.
Cloud, which I thought would be impossible to get, especially the variant, he was easy to get. And so it just blows me away. We're in a situation where 6 Amiibo are going to be exclusives to stores. So we're right back into that whole mess again.
Yeah.
And other than that, like, so what's your input on this? What's your take on all this?
So there's a number of things that I kind of want to spring off into. I want to talk about adapting the line to Switch,
mm-hmm.
but we'll get there in a second.
Yeah.
So here's the thing that I think happened. I think that they had the initial success with the Smash Brothers line, and I think a lot of times what happens is, and people like to blame Nintendo for false demand, right? Yeah. They short the supply to create hype, so there's a false demand for people wanting it. You can argue whether that's true or not. The fact is, that's what happens, and when it's hard to find, then it becomes something that people want a lot more.
Uh-huh.
And so the hype was through the roof. And then Nintendo was like, okay, we hear your concern, so now we're going to release a line of Animal Crossing Amiibos, and we're going to release 30. There was a bunch of them, maybe 15, 20 of them. I know there's a lot of them, and we're going to release a lot of them. Now, what happened there was they didn't move, and they didn't move for a couple of reasons. We could argue that maybe not as popular. I would argue that there was just too many of them.
I feel like they didn't move because they had nothing to move to.
Yeah,
like, at least with Smash, it was a really good game. With sure. That, they put out Amiibo Festival, which I enjoyed Amiibo Festival. A couple of the mini games that were in there actually came along later to Hello or whatever, Welcome Amiibo,
sure.
The adaptation. I felt like if they would have done that, if they would have given us Welcome Amiibo instead of Amiibo Festival,
it would have done better.
It would have done a lot better. I would have done a lot better. Yeah.
And that actually is one of the best uses of Amiibo that people still don't really take advantage of.
Oh, it's amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah,
it's good. With the cards, too. The fact that you can scan in any character that is your favorite characters, and they show up in your town. That is awesome.
Yeah, that's
super
cool.
You can kick people out. That's another thing. Like, it's the
good.
greatest thing that people have been wanting to do for years.
Yeah.
I agree. I can't argue that at all.
Yeah, I feel like it's great. So here's what I think. I think that what they need to get back to, which it seems like is what they're doing, is I think that they overloaded the Animal Crossing line. Whether there was a game or not obviously affected it, but I think, for the Smash line, what we would normally get like 6 maybe at a time, and then there would be like a long gap, until the next drop. But Animal Crossing just felt like all of them dropped pretty much at the same time. Yeah. And I know there were waves, but they was really, really close together. Yeah. Now we get, the direct, and we come back and we're getting just 3 from Splatoon. We're getting just 3 from I guess just the Zelda, it's a 30th anniversary line. Yeah. So three more from that line. Mm-hmm. And then technically we're only getting 3 from Smash Brothers, mm-hmm. and then they're giving us the Player 2 variant. Yeah. So technically we're getting 6, but even at that, 6 is not an overwhelming number. But if you think about 3, right? So like if you're a huge Splatoon fan, now your investment goes $40, right?
Yep.
As opposed to if they were going to release 10 Splatoon, which they could, they could release, I'm sure there's new characters. I think there's that new store merchant guy, and there's a little shrimp guy. I forget all their names. And the cat, what's the cat's name?
Judd.
Yeah, Judd. And then they have the new cat, which
Judd Jr.
Yeah, judging yourself. I mean, you have characters that you can do, and hopefully we'll get them.
Yeah.
But I think that they're playing it safe, where they're going just real precise and kind of real small. So that those come out on the day of the game. So you walk in to pick up Splatoon, and you're like, okay, there's only 3 figures that I need. I think Zelda did this a lot better too with Breath of the Wild, because there were 6 of them. But even 6 is not a huge overwhelming number. So I think that's important. They're going back to smaller chunks, and that they're focused on really good, games. Now,
yeah, but I think my biggest issue is this: I look at, so you get the 3 Splatoon ones. I agree completely, fine with that. Pikmin 1, that's separate from the other ones, so that's not a big deal.
I love that one.
That's an amazing one too. But you get 6, right? You get 6 Smash. 3 Zelda that are all hitting the same day, and I'm telling you right now, people aren't making a big deal about it, but I really feel like that is going to be the day that Smash Deluxe hits. There is no doubt in my mind.
Announced at E3.
Yeah, because why would you?
June
23rd.
Yeah.
Or no, I think that one's July 23rd.
July 23rd.
I thought the June 21st was the Splatoon ones, and then July 23rd was
the Smash ones.
The Smash ones, if I'm not mistaken. So I just feel like that is going to be what hits. I think they're going to come out with. They're going to be like, oh, by the way, here's Smash, and then, man, if they bring some DLC characters,
so I disagree with that statement.
Okay.
Only for this reason. They promised us these characters before, right? And so if we're just looking at it from kind of their perspective, they're just owning the promise that they made to Wii U owners that we're going to make every Smash character. Plus with Mario Kart coming out this year, I don't know that they want to push another deluxe. What I think will happen is that they will announce new characters, which we're going to talk about this in a little while, but new characters for the Smash Brothers Deluxe version.
Absolutely.
And they're going to have brand new amiibos of those characters at launch day. So that would be the push that I would think they would go with. But at the same time, I would not be surprised if they went ahead and moved it. I mean, the year that they're having to add Smash Brothers to kind of the gauntlet that they're throwing down like that, huge. That'd be huge.
Yeah. I agree.
So let me ask you this. So it seems like for a while, I think the question was, are we done with Amiibo? Because they didn't really announce it at all. Even though they kind of showed it in the October trailer, they didn't really announce much. They didn't really announce anything during the reveal in January. And even really in any of the directs, they haven't really, up until this point, haven't really shown Amiibo. So you had a lot of kind of just busy talk of, are they done? What's going to happen with it? But now after seeing, this last direct, you see that they're definitely not going away from it. So here's my concern. I can't carry around 80 Amiibo figures in my backpack. Well, I guess I probably could, but that would be really weird. So with the new characters coming out, I feel like Nintendo has to do something to address the fact that this is a portable console.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to kind of maybe see if you had an idea of what you'd like to see or how you think they could handle that. And I have a couple of ideas too, to kind of put us on the right track. I don't know. Do you know anything about Skylanders on Switch?
I don't know.
Okay, so they did release the Skylanders. It was a launch day game. Skylanders Imaginators. Yeah. And so the way that Imaginators works on Switch is that you scan the figure one time, and it saves it into the database of the game, which tells you that character is there. Okay. So you don't have to carry that Skylander with you. Whenever you're going to work or whatever, you just have that character saved there.
Just curiosity, not to cut you off, but just curiosity. What did they do Skylanders on the 3DS or no?
I don't know if they've done several of them.
Okay.
But it worked the same way as the other consoles.
Okay.
You had to have a little portable base.
Yes. Yeah.
So this is the first time that and this was done by Activision. This is not done by the OS of the Switch at all. This is all done in game with Imaginator. So they actually so Activision actually kind of tooled. I say Activision. They didn't develop it. They published it, but the developer actually went in and kind of built that code in there to allow the game to kind of unlock the characters in a specific way. So so that kind of got me thinking, you know, we have the launch of Nintendo's online infrastructure, whatever that's going to be. I assume, since they haven't said anything about it yet, and Mario Kart is just a week away, I assume we're not going to get any information about it until E3. I kind of felt like that we would get a direct that would kind of announce a lot of it leading up to Mario Kart, but since that's not happened, I feel like we'll get that information at E3. You know, and so everybody's focused on the virtual console and what that's going to look like. But for me, I'm a little more interested in other small aspects of it. Nintendo's always known for having like quirky things within their OS. For instance, Miiverse, right? Miiverse was a huge part of both the 3DS and the Wii U, and that was completely taken away from the Switch. But something along those kind of lines, where it's a Nintendo kind of system set up where you can interact with other people. And a lot of people talked about things like achievement systems. They even had like stamps on the Wii U, which is really cool. Like they have all these things that they've tried in the past, but now we're getting to a place where the Switch is the future. So there has to be something there. So this brings me back to Switch. I mean, back to Amiibos. I think Amiibo could actually be a really cool way for them to usher in, you know, this into like an OS level thing. So I'm going to give you my pitch, and then we can talk about it, and you can maybe throw out any ideas that you may have. What I would like to see is a museum. And Nintendo's good about doing this stuff. They can do it however they want to do it. But I would like to see a museum of every single Amiibo that they have ever released that gets updated as they release new Amiibos. And if you own said Amiibo and you scan it to your Switch, it unlocks that Amiibo in the museum. So now you have an interactive museum which you can go into on your Switch, and you can view all of the Amiibo that you own. And you can take screenshots of it so you can share with your friends. You can maybe compare it with your friends if they have that kind of functionality built in there. But the bigger thing with this is that it also saves that data that you have that. So in the future, as they release games, if you get maybe a special power up for having, let's say, you know, Yarn Yoshi, right? But you've already scanned it and it's in there, that your system recognizes that you have it, and you're able to utilize that rather than me load up Yarn Yoshi every time I walk out the door to go to work. Like I'd have a way to do that. Nintendo's really good about its charm, and the one thing that I've said from the beginning is, even though I love the OS, I love how quick and fast it is. It doesn't feel like Nintendo yet. It's the sounds are cool. The sounds are good. But the actual OS itself is very bland. It's there's not the Nintendo kind of magic that you would normally have in that. So that's kind of so I think that we're going to be seeing a lot more Amiibo, but I think Nintendo has to address the fact that this is a portable system. And so I am interested to see how they do that going forward.
So when the Amiibo craze was pretty rampant, there was a product that was put out that was a disc. It was about this big, and it was about the size of a base of an Amiibo. Okay. And it held and stored every Amiibo up to that point. You could store up to 100 Amiibo on it.
Oh, that's cool.
So I think that would ultimately be, excuse me, that would ultimately be the answer, because if there, I mean, I love your idea. I think your idea is awesome. A la Smash, like when you get the trophies and they all get in those cases.
Exactly.
That would be awesome. I would love that, because that's the main reason I play Smash, is just to fill the trophy cases. So for me, I would be like, yeah, that's awesome. But if they didn't do that, if they did the disc where I could just pull the disc out of my carrying case and plunk it down and go, okay, I'm going to scan in. Which Amiibo do you want to activate? You click the name, boom, and it takes it.
That's great.
Because I think the way you're talking is, you're right on. Look, I'm not carrying around. I got every Amiibo so far. I'm not carrying around every damn Amiibo to scan in to be like, oh, I want this, or oh, I want that. Like, Breath of the Wild was probably the first time that you got into a situation where it was like, all right, I actually want to scan these things in on a daily basis. I did it at first. I went a little crazy, like the first couple of days, and I was scanning every single Zelda Amiibo I had, and then I was like, yeah, I don't want to do this no more, because I kind of felt like it was taking away from the game a little bit, making it a little bit easier.
I agree.
So I stopped and was like, okay, I'm going to beat this thing. And then once I beat the game, then I was like, okay, I want to start scanning them again, because I wanted to unlock the costumes. That was the main reason why I started doing it, was to unlock the costumes. But the part that was kind of taking away and making it feel easy was I was stocking up on food like crazy.
Yeah, they give you a lot of food.
Oh yeah. And I felt like, oh man, this is bad. Like, I'm getting 5 pieces of meat, 5 fish, vegetables and all this stuff. Like, this is bad, because I can put together stuff. And then I stopped. So I stopped scanning in and went that way. But we're going to get another Animal Crossing game. That's a no-brainer.
Oh, of course.
When that game comes, I'm not carrying around all 15 Amiibo I have, plus all 300 plus cards I have. Ain't gonna happen.
Yeah.
So I think, you're right on the right track. Like, it would be nice to just go in and scan them in. Like, a game like Mario Kart don't matter, because, I'll get Mario Kart on Friday. I'll walk over to my display case, open it up, scan in Mario, scan in Peach, scan in Link, scan in all the characters, unlock all the suits, done. Game over, and I'll never have to touch it again, and just move on. But a game like Zelda, where if you want to scan in, you actually have to wait till you get home, get the Amiibo, do it. Hey, maybe I'm not going to be home for the week. Maybe I'm going on vacation, and I want to access. I like your idea best. I just don't feel like that's something Nintendo would do. But I don't even feel like they would do my idea either. I feel like the way they're going to do it is they're going to be like, hey, you got to bring the Amiibo with you. But I don't want to do that. They also think that, or they also treat Amiibo like it's little kids that own them and are playing with them, like toys. Yeah. And I don't know many people that let their kids play with them. It's typically they're put away on the display case.
Sure.
And that's just how it is.
We buy multiples of some that the kids really like, so that they can play with them. Like, Cal has a Pikachu, and Kira has a Zelda, but I have the whole line, and those are just mine, and they're either on in a case or not even open yet. So
ultimately that's the way I would like to see it go.
Yeah.
Moving forward, I think the Zelda line they'll find a way to keep going with that one. It's interesting. It's interesting. Yeah. I think we're right. I think you're right where you say they're gonna start pushing more Amiibo as we move forward. And this is kind of Amiibo 2.0. Like, it's a new push. Speaking of the past, the future, and all that stuff, 3DS.
The Nintendo 3DS.
So for me, when you basically came at me with the death of the 3DS, the first thing I thought of was well, I haven't even touched my 3DS.
Exactly.
And it's done. It's like when Switch hit, it was lights out for that thing.
Yeah.
It's crazy because we just got a Direct, and we got a bunch of 3DS stuff in that Direct, and none of it made me go I have to fire up my 3DS. I looked at some stuff and I was like, I'd like to do it. I just don't know that I will.
Yeah. So I brought this up to you because if you would have asked me in February what my console of choice was, I would have said without hesitation the Nintendo 3DS.
Yeah.
We have this conversation a lot on Life of Gaming. James is a home console person, so he literally plays his Switch docked like 99% of the time.
Yeah.
And I am the opposite. I'm a handheld gamer, and the only time I normally dock my console is to charge it at the end of the night. The only time that I normally play is if I'm capturing something. Any other time, it's in my hand, and so I'm a handheld gamer by nature, and that has to do with my life. I have 4 kids, so I'm always running around. We're always going somewhere, doing something. Yeah. So handheld gaming is just always been good. So I've always had a handheld, whether it be the DS or the 3DS, and I love it. I mean, I have like 70 games downloaded onto a 128 gigabyte memory card and there's tons of stuff, and I have not touched it since the Switch came. And so I was just kind of thinking in my head, like, what game at this point, is there anything that they could announce that would make me pick it back up? And I don't know if there is. Like, I don't know that there's any life left in that machine. And so it's interesting, for me. Let's see. During the Direct, they announced that the Kirby something Fighters. It was the free to start game that they announced on the Direct, and so we all have. So I have 3 of my kids are of gaming age, and they all have the 2 older ones have 3DS, and the younger one has a 2DS. So we downloaded the Kirby game on their systems. They've been playing it. They loved it, and I just haven't even opened mine to download. Like, I just have no interest to touch the machine.
And that's how I feel. I'm right with you, man. Me and Sean watched that Direct together. The Pikmin game. Like, I love Pikmin.
Yeah.
I'll probably buy it. I'll definitely buy the Pikmin. The Amiibo.
Oh, the Amiibo for sure.
And if it's bundled together, then I guess I'm getting the game with it. But I just don't have that desire. And it's crazy because I have like 6 3DSs. So it's like, I have them coming out my ears. I still want to touch it. To me, this is the ultimate handheld now. And I for me, I do probably, I'd say 60-40 home console, handheld. I'm probably the demographic that Nintendo was thinking of when they made this thing. The ability to go both with it. But I also feel like, at the same time I say that, I also feel like I'm not the demographic. I feel like in the United States, they felt like people were going to go home console with it. And in Japan, they were going to go handheld with it. And I think that's where people are like, the people that are complaining about what they gave us, they don't get it. They don't understand what, like, when you listen to people in the United States go, well, this isn't a home console. This is a handheld. Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's both. That's why they call it a hybrid. Nintendo looked at the marketing research and they go, why are we failing in the United States? Because we're not pushing our home console hardcore. Why are we failing in Japan? Because our home console doesn't sell in Japan no more. They did get the best of both worlds, And so that's another topic, another show. But I feel like when this thing hit, I just lost interest in my 3DS. And honestly, if it hit and we didn't get Zelda, I don't know that I can say that. Zelda literally pulled me out of... Zelda took my life away for a month.
Yeah.
Like, I literally didn't play or look at any... I'd come home from work, first thing I'd do is, eat dinner, come downstairs, start playing Zelda.
Yeah.
I'd take it to... Look, it got so bad. Typically, I go to work, I leave at lunch, go pick up my lunch, come back, eat, go back to work. I got to the point where I was bringing my lunch. I was stopping on my way to work, picking up lunch.
So you didn't have to leave.
So I didn't have to leave. And I would sit in my office with a sandwich, and I'd play, and then during like loading screens, I'd grab a bite or two of my sandwich, and I'd go back to playing. And that was it. And, dude, when Mario Kart 8 hits, I've already talked to one of the guys at work who went and got one, and I'm like, dude, lunch, my office, every day. We're
every
playing Mario
day.
Kart. Like, it's on, man. It's going to be awesome. And so I think that's the problem. The problem is like, it's not so much like, if Mario Kart hit this, right, I probably would go to the 3DS a little bit to tinker with it. Like, if Mario Kart was the launch game. Partly because I'd already played it on the Wii U. Yeah. But I would have looked at this thing, these games, like the sports game that came out. I wanted that sports game so bad when they announced it. I didn't even buy it.
No.
It's almost like Nintendo, I want to say to Nintendo, stop making what you're making, push it to the Switch. You know what I mean? Like that. Because what was the other one? The one with, oh God, the one I really wanted with Greco. It's like an RPG game. It's an action RPG game.
You lost me.
I can't remember the name of it, man. Ever Oasis.
Oh, yeah. From the Direct. Yeah.
I want that. I wanted that game so badly when it got announced.
Yeah.
I'm not going to buy it because I know I'm not going to play. I might buy these games to have them because if I ever hit a lull and I'm looking for something, at least I have them and I can go play them. But I'm not going to play them at launch. I'm just basically buying them to hang on to them. And I had news for you. With all the Amiibo coming, with all the games, dude, this people that are saying there are no games
lost their mind.
They're insane, dude. We get Tetris in a couple of days, right?
Yeah.
We get Street Fighter in a couple of days.
Yep.
And then we get Mario Kart. And I'm just coming off of last week. I just bought Wonder Boy. Like, dude, it's one game after the other. I bought a game every week for this thing.
Yeah.
It's insane. It really is.
No, it's good. All right, two questions, and then we can move on.
Yeah.
Is there a game, or what would the game be that would make you open and play your 3DS again? Mother 3.
Oh, I'd be there in a minute. I would be there in a minute. Yeah, but I want Mother 3 on my Switch.
Sure.
I don't want Mother 3 on my 3DS, but
sure,
that would be the one that would make me do it. That would definitely be the one that would make me do it. It's funny because as you were saying, I was like, a Mario game? No. Zelda? No. And then you go Mother 3, and I'm like, yeah, I would. In a minute. That's the one. You hit me with that one. That is the one.
Yeah.
Just because I want that. And look, honestly, I could play it right now. I have the game on my, I have the translated version. I just don't like playing on that small screen. Yeah. And that's why I want it on the Switch, because I want to be able to play it on my TV.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I loved about Earthbound, being able to play it on my TV.
Yeah.
But if I had to play it on my 3DS screen is much bigger than my DSi screen. My DSi screen is like this.
Yeah.
So it's like, it looks phenomenal, but it's like a postage stamp, man. And dude, I'm getting old, man. My eyes aren't as good as they were. It's like, holy crap. So,
I mean, Mother 3 would do it for me. I was thinking, like, if they announced a really cool, maybe a follow up to Link Between Worlds, maybe, because I do love top down Zelda. I would much rather play it on the Switch, and I think we're gonna get that on the Switch. But anyway, I thought that would just be kind of fun. All right, so question number 2, and then we can move on. What would you like to see Nintendo do with the legacy of the 3DS? And what I mean by that is, do you think that in a year's time, 2 years' time, whatever it is, whenever they finally put the nail in it, that they're done and it's just one platform, or do you think, or would you like to see an alternative handheld, and what would you like that to be?
No, I want them to be done.
You want Switch to be it?
I want Switch to be it, and here's my reasoning, because I feel like if they let Switch be the one and only, right? It is the handheld, it is the home console. If they allow this to happen, they can bring those 3DS type games to the Switch, but what it does is it opens up the library. This way, if third parties do not come, because they're not 100% on board right now. We are getting some third party stuff, but it's like half in, half out. You know what I mean? I don't feel like third parties are fully invested. Independent developers are, but the EA, Bethesda, all these guys, like 2K, they're half stepping it right now.
Yeah.
If they pull out and they go, we're not making games here. If Nintendo has two systems, they're done. Because they're back to the 3DS and the Wii U. Yeah. If they can focus all those teams on one console, I feel like they can weather some of the storm and keep things going. You know, ultimately, I think the way this thing is selling, the way it's moving, third parties are coming. Games are selling like crazy right now on the Switch. I think I was just listening to a podcast and they were talking about this new game that just hit, this generational game, whatever the heck it is. The God, I can't remember the name of it. I'm gonna go look it up now. How you like that? I got my Switch right here. Anyway, I heard that it was like the attach rate was so insane that like they're like, we're so glad it's on Switch. We're so glad we put it on Switch, because it was just like, you know, when you sit there and you look at it, it's like, before that wasn't the story. Before the story was like, games don't sell on Nintendo lineups.
Yeah.
You
was
know,
that Snake Pass?
No, it was Graceful Explosion Machine.
Oh yeah, Jim. Yep.
That apparently sold like gangbusters, man. And they say that wouldn't have done, you know, that well on, you know, in the past. You know, and it wouldn't have. I agree. It wouldn't have.
No, Sumo came out and said a similar thing about Snake Pass too, though. How it sold surprisingly well on the Switch, and so it's doing well. Yeah, I agree. I think, you know, we've talked about this a lot on our show, that there are two things that matter when it comes to third parties. Install base is one, and then attach rate is the other. Those are the only two things that people sitting around a boardroom look at.
Yeah.
Is the console selling, and are people buying games for it? Yeah. And so both of those things are happening right now for the Switch, so it looks really good. I'll say this on my end, just to kind of bow tie this. I have kids, so my answer is a little bit different from yours, in that I would like to see, because here's the problem. I have a 7-year-old and I have a 3-year-old, and I'm not going to let them run around the backyard with the Switch. You know, but I let them sit in the backyard and play the 3DS. So I would like to see, once the 3DS is put out to pasture, I would like to see a single screen. It doesn't have to be single screen, but I would prefer a single screen. But I would like to see a cheaper, smaller, more compact version of like the 2DS. That you could buy on the cheap for kids who still want to be kind of in Nintendo's ecosystem. And I wouldn't even need to see new games for it. I would be fine with them doing like what they're doing with Kirby, and just do a lot of free to start games, just stuff that kids could kind of play around.
Here's an idea. What if they went with a cheaper version of the Switch? Smaller screen, no Joy-Con detached, just all in one piece. You know what I mean? And maybe it had a slot that you could put 3DS games in, so that way you could play 3DS games, but you also could do Switch games in it, but only certain Switch games come to it, not all Switch games.
Yeah.
I know you would piss people off to some degree, but at the same time, it would fill that void that you're looking for.
Sure.
A game like Puyo Puyo Tetris, no problem. Game like Zelda, iffy.
Maybe not.
You know what I mean? Maybe not. But you know, like, all these Neo Geo games, definitely you could play on there.
Yeah.
Like, when the Virtual Console hits, definitely could play it on there. You know, Snake Pass shouldn't be a problem. You know, Gem shouldn't be a problem. You get to the bigger games, and maybe it's a hit or miss. You know, who knows? But I think that might be I just would hate to see them deviate. And hey, you know what? Maybe you go, all right, look, this is a $200 machine, as opposed to a $300 machine, because 3DS is $200.
Sure,
you know?
Sure.
So it's a $200 machine as opposed to the $300 machine. Joy-Cons don't pop off, and it does play everything. You know what I mean? Then I think it fills that gap. You know what I mean? Nintendo is not afraid to do two SKUs. You know?
Sure.
You think about it, you had the 3DS XL, you had the regular 3DS, so I don't see that they would have an issue doing that at all, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, I'd be fine with it. You could even, I mean, you could kind of go the route that like Xbox going with Xbox One and then Xbox Scorpio, where everything's going to play on both. Yes. But one's going to be 4K, one's not. So like you could maybe, you know, I mean, we have 1080p right on the and then on the Switch we have 780 or 720. So maybe that cheaper version now is at 480. Yeah. Right. And that's fine because again, you're buying it for a younger audience that's not going to be as concerned about that.
Yeah, I don't care.
Yeah, I mean, something like that would be fine. I just the parent in me. The one thing that's always been great about Nintendo is that they're really good family devices, and the kids love playing the Switch, and I let them play it in the dock on the TV. Yeah. Because I don't want them running around the house with our with tile, you know, carrying that Switch around, because one drop on the ground and this is down the drain. Yeah. So that's all. I would like to see them address more maybe a younger audience, but that's a great idea. I'd buy a more kid friendly version of the Switch for sure.
So. Now that we have the kid-friendly version of the Switch, what Wii U games do we want to see come over? But what? And your question was basically like what I want from the Wii U Deluxe games on Switch. And I had asked you before, like, well, do you mean like features or do you just mean like what games? And you were like both, you know. So let's start with games first.
Sure.
And let's just do like maybe just two each.
That's fine.
Like to see brought over. I think the one there's two that I would probably want. And one would be, and I don't know that you can really do deluxe versions of them. That's the one.
You have to play by the rules, Bobby. So here, let me clarify while you're thinking. Okay, so Mario Kart comes out. Yeah. Mario Kart Deluxe, right? Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. They're adding a full service battle mode. It's completely redone. They're adding 4 new characters, right? And all of the DLC. Yeah. So it doesn't have to be a lot, but you're getting an additional mode. Yeah. You're getting a few extra characters, and you're getting all the DLC included at launch. Okay. And so that's kind of what I mean. I mean, it doesn't have to be like a whole brand new like whole section or whatever, but there has to be a little shine on it if you're going to.
The one that I would definitely do is Bayonetta.
Good.
And I would do Bayonetta 1 and 2.
Okay, good. The complete collection.
The complete collection all together. And I would like to see them, you know, put all the costumes in that came in the original Bayonetta. Maybe even move them, maybe even take them costumes that were in the first Bayonetta, move them over to the second Bayonetta. Because I thought those costumes were kind of cool. They were Nintendo-centric, but they were Bayonetta mix. They weren't like kid-friendly, you know, costumes.
Yeah.
You know, I like that. The other one that's hit me, but there wasn't a lot of DLC to it or anything, would be, man, there's two. Give me one. You give me one, because I got stuff going through my head, and I'm just like, man, this is rough.
Sure. So I want Star Fox Zero.
We're not going to talk to you now.
No. Listen.
You're done. All right, you're done.
So hear me.
You want Star Fox Zero with real controls?
With real controls.
Okay.
Star Fox Zero, the Deluxe Edition.
Okay, you brought it back.
Give me a real Star Fox with real controls. Take that motion control crap and get it out of my game. And that's enough. Maybe throw in, some bells and whistles in like a new multiplayer mode. Maybe even add like a Star Fox battle mode, like a dogfight kind of mode, like they do in Mario Kart would be kind of cool. But just give me a way. I could not stand Star Fox Zero because I've been playing Star Fox since the SNES. And I absolutely loved that game, and I knew what to expect from that game. And even the little touchscreen DS game didn't piss me off nowhere near as much as Star Fox Zero did. I wanted to go find every copy of that game and go throw it on Nintendo's front yard and set it on fire. It was a pile of garbage. So I really want to love and have a new Star Fox game. So yeah, that would be mine. I would like to have Star Fox Deluxe where it's actually Star Fox. You play, in the cockpit the way that you're supposed to play Star Fox.
Yeah, I like that. The other one I want to come over, but again, there's really nothing to add to it, I don't think, but is Tokyo Mirage Sessions. And
this is not a game that I played.
I love the game, but the problem what killed it for me was the fact that I had to play it at home. And I feel like that's the tried and the true of all RPGs, where the Switch comes for guys our age that you can't really sit. You got kids, so you can't sit in front of the TV all the time. Yes. So the ability to play it at home plus take it on the go, it was a fun game. It really was. It was a really fun game. A lot of people I know say like, "Hey, this is Persona. This is a Persona game. It's just different."
Okay. That'd be cool.
I would like to see something like that, but then with that, I don't know what DLC. There was no DLC, so there's nothing you really. It's just, and I don't know what version you bring. Like, there's really no add-on, to it per se. But in speaking, but the one thing that hit me that I would like to see brought to this, that's not a Wii U game, but they could do a deluxe version of it, is Fire Emblem Fates.
Oh, yes.
And just, you buy the cartridge, all 3 games are packed into one, it's all the DLC comes on that one disc, like everything. I feel like that's the game that would, because that game has some great cinematics, and that's what has me looking forward to Fire Emblem next year, is because I'm like, I love Fire Emblem, but if you took that game to kind of like get people into Fire Emblem, and kind of like, because they got the mobile game and all that, that would be the one for me, honestly. That's cool.
I was actually really disappointed when they announced the new was it Echoes? What is the new? Because I was really excited about that, and I was like, heck, they announced this at the time the Switch was coming out. This is clearly going to be a Switch game, and it's not. And that's another game that I would really love to play. But I just don't see myself going back to the 3DS,
that game wasn't enough to make me go back, but Fire Emblem Fates, I loved. I thought it was a great game. I played Conquest, where I played Birthright all the way through, got about halfway through Conquest, and I stopped. I really want to go back and play Revelations. Yeah. And, because I bought the collector's edition, but to me that would be like the one that like, hey, and because we're in that conversation, we're like, I really don't want to go back to the Switch, the 3DS. So if I could have that on here, I would definitely go back to that game and play it again. So that would, it's not a 3DS game or it's not a Wii U game, but it's definitely something that I think would work.
I love it
in this aspect.
For sure.
I think Smash is coming. Right, I think that's it's a no-brainer that game's coming.
Yes,
I do feel like it's coming this year. I don't feel like it's going to come next year. I feel like they're going to hit, but it's probably going to come like August, September, somewhere in there. Okay. And I think that when we did them surveys or we voted for those characters, I think Nintendo gave us Bayonetta and was like, "Oh, this is the one that people voted for." Which ultimately, when they broke it down, she won in Europe. She was like top 5 in the United States, and I think she was like 2nd or 3rd place in Japan. So it made sense, in the consensus. She was probably the top vote getter when you pulled all the votes together and all that. But I know that Shovel Knight was high up. I know Shantae was high up. I know that Banjo-Kazooie was high up. Once Phil Spencer made that announcement that, hey, they can have Banjo-Kazooie, he got a lot of votes. Yeah. So, I think that what Nintendo's going to do when they announce this is they're going to give us 5 new characters.
Ooh, okay.
That are coming.
Big number. Yeah. I like it.
It is a big number, but I think that's I want to say a round reasonable. Number. It's I think it's reasonable. They've had a long time to work on these characters. Yeah. So, and I think that is probably what they're going to do. They may go 3, but whatever it may be. But I think 5 is the number in my mind.
I do think there will be some.
Because that would put them at 45 characters.
Yeah.
Something like that.
There's 40.
Somewhere. I think it might be 48. I don't know what
48.
There's a lot, man.
There's a lot.
There is so many. At one time, I knew the number. I mean, if you give me a minute, I can go around and count on my Amiibo and tell you. But I think but I also think they're going to do Amiibo with them. But I really think we're going to get some top dog, characters that people aren't expecting. So we'll see
Well,
what happens with that. But,
so I'll say this about Smash, and then I'd like to hear like who you'd like to see. For Smash Deluxe, I really want to see them bring the content of both platforms. So I want to see, the thing I loved about 3DS is they had those really cool like 3DS centric stages. And since since the Switch is joining both handheld and home console, it makes sense for both of those to kind of make the jump over. They also, I mean, for the people that played on the 3DS, they had an exclusive like single player type mode. I forget, I can't think of right now.
It was
called,
Run,
like,
right?
Run, yeah, like Run, yeah, Smash Run.
So
something.
good. It was
I really
loved it.
Yeah, and again, going back to, I spend most of my time playing handheld games, so I put probably twice as many hours in Smash on the 3DS as I did on the Wii U, and so I would like to see that. So I would like to see a complete edition with all DLC included, and then all the content from the 3DS. It's just a complete version of the game. Yeah. But then I do think we're going to see characters. So who would you like to see?
Shovel Knight, number one.
Oh, Shovel Knight.
No doubt in my mind. I want 100%. Shovel Knight there. Man, beyond Shovel Knight, I kind of hit the wall, and I go, who else? But I voted for Shovel Knight, and I voted for Rusty for SteamWorld Dig.
Oh yes, Rusty would be great.
Yeah, those were the two characters that I voted for. Now, one that Mark Carabin of the Warp Whistle podcast always pushed and talked about, and I think would be amazing, is Wolflink and Midna.
That would be cool.
That would be cool. Because you give them the moveset of Duck Hunt. Yeah. Duck Hunt dog. So, not the moveset, but like the feel and the flow.
Yeah, of course.
I think that one would be
that'd be good.
So
that'd
good.
Be that would be really, really good. Yeah. Okay, so I think that I agree that if Shovel Knight isn't in Smash at some point, it's not going to make any sense in the world. I mean, Shovel Knight shows up in Yooka-Laylee. Yeah. Like, I mean, Yacht Club Games is they just want Shovel Knight to be in stuff. Yeah. Like Nintendo, all Nintendo has to do.
They whore him out to everything. Like, oh yeah.
It's just like oh yeah. It's like, yes, let's do it. Oh yeah, Gran Turismo. You guys want Shovel Knight to show up? Yeah, let's just do it. I think Shovel Knight should definitely be in there. I would like to see just try this on a little bit. Steve from Minecraft. Now that we have Minecraft over, I think that it's just such a funny character, and it's got like these 8-bit roots, and just kind of going back to what you said, the way they did like Duck Hunt Dog, and even like Rob the Robot, how kind of his motions are real choppy, like like kind of like the old robot was. It'd be kind of funny to just have Steve just kind of running around dropping bricks on people's heads.
That would be funny.
I think it'd be funny, and since that relationship's kind of there, it'd be cool. And then I will say, I think that they're going to bring Ice Climbers. Whether you like them or not, they're going to bring them.
I was going to start when you first started. I was going to say, if you're going to say Ice Climbers, man, don't even go there.
I don't want them. I've never really liked playing with them, but I have a feeling that at this point it's just fan service, and enough people have kind of whined about it over the years. I think that they would probably do that. The other thing that I was going to say though, so I'll give you because you did 2 games. So I'll give you my last game. I want Hyrule Warriors.
Okay.
And we actually talked about this a little bit on our last show, and Jamie kind of fought me a little bit about it, because in the game there's already a Goron and there's already a Zora, but I want Hyrule Warriors with the champions from Breath of the Wild. Because I just think that I love the design of them. I love the character of them. In Breath of the Wild, if you guys are playing it, no spoilers, but you get to really they flesh out, not some of them more than others, but you kind of get the characters fleshed out a little bit. So they have a lot more personality, I think, than most of the other characters, maybe even in any of the games. Like you get like some really good character moments for those people. And so Hyrule Warriors is a game that I think was highly I think the people that liked it really liked it, but I think that a lot of people just kind of saw it as blasphemy and didn't really appreciate it for what it was. It's just kind of mindless hack and slash, but it was a lot of fun. It looked really great.
It's so good. I mean, we're getting a Fire Emblem.
Yeah, the Fire Emblem.
Yeah,
I'm excited about that.
I think that if you took that, you took Tinkle.
Yeah.
or Linkle, not Tinkle.
Not Tinkle.
Tinkle. Jesus,
That's a different
my
thing.
mind. There's a different thing altogether. That's a mix of Tingle and. But anyway, you took Linkle, you added her in. You took the DLC because there was a lot of DLC. Threw it all together. Absolutely, man. I don't know. I would probably buy it again, honestly. I didn't buy it for the 3DS, but that's because it just didn't look right. I almost did. I came very close to pulling the trigger on it, especially when they put the Wind Waker stuff in there.
Yes.
But I backed off the last minute just because I was like, let me just hear what people think. And it was getting panned, man. People were tearing it up.
I mean, it's just an inferior system. I mean, it just can't control like that much. I mean, those games are known for having just tons and tons of enemies on the screen, and the 3DS just can't handle that.
Not at all. So that is all. Thank you guys for listening to us. iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher. Check us out on YouTube. All that good stuff. Chris, thank you so much again for doing this. I love. We get going, man. We start rattling off, man.
I like it.
What again? Let everybody know where they can check you out, follow you, and all that good stuff.
Just go to Twitter. I'm at NeoLego. That's NeoLego, like it sounds. And anything that I do or have anything to say about, it's all going to be there, so you can find me there. So, and shout out to both Sean and Toby. I love you guys, and I'm always glad to fill in when you guys aren't around. So thanks for having me.
Yes, you're always more than welcome. Even if they are here, you're more than welcome. Follow me, Instagram, Twitter, at Nintendo Gurus. Follow the show at _GeekcastPod. See me later.
Bye.
Look, I was going to say, what are you doing, man? Say something. Don't just stand there. I just had this conversation last night with